The truth is not a person. That's what I titled it. The truth is not a person. If you have believed uh, what men have said, then you are deceived, because the truth is not a person. Way is not a person. Way has never been a person. Adam was a person. He was. He was the first man made of dust. That's the only man that God made out of dust. God has made, since then, a woman of Adam. And what God took from Adam has produced a great number of offspring. A great number of offspring. The mother, I read somewhere that Eve was the mother of all living. Eve was the first to give birth to a baby. Nobody gave birth to a child before Eve. There was nobody to give birth. Birth was not in the picture. But once God made Adam from the dust, he could continue and do whatever he wanted to do with what he had made. Continuation. Do you know what continuation means? It means it goes on and on. It's continued. And God has made from one man every nation. Because he put Adam to sleep and took from Adam and made something suitable for Adam. And when it pleased God, it suited God for the woman that was with Adam to have children. She did not have any children until God had something to do with it. Mm-hmm. Yeah. God has something to do with a lot of things. He really does. I know some people, they just don't believe. But I don't believe there's anybody that doesn't believe something. I really believe that everybody believes something. I mean, I talk to people every day, and everybody I talk to believes something. they do. But do they believe God? That's the question. Do they believe God? Adam believed God. He had no reason not to believe God. Eve had no reason not to believe God. Mm-mm. No, I mean, something is wrong with you if you don't believe God. There's just something wrong with you if you don't believe God. A man is not the way, the truth, the life. He's not. What God made out of dust and breathed into a man, and that man became, according to what I read, a living soul. Now, how God got Eve formed out of a rib, only God knows. Because it was God who put Adam to sleep and opened him up and took a portion of his body and fashioned, formed that rib into a woman who has been known as Eve since anything has been written that you can read. Eve was Adam's wife. And Eve had children with the help of the Lord. Now, the Lord created Adam. So you can just go ahead and assume and understand. You don't need to assume things. You need to understand that God can do whatever he desires to do. But God cannot be something that he's not. I cannot be something that I'm not, and neither can you. Therefore, what God is, God is. And you are what you are because God is what he is. God is what he is, and I'm not pointing at somebody else. I'm not saying anybody else is God. Mm-mm. No, I can assure you that the angels, and there are angels, and these angels are not confused. Mm-mm. There are no confused angels. All the angels know God. There's no angel that doesn't know God. But there are a great number of humans on the earth today that believe that God became something. The only thing I can see that God became is a father. God became a father on his own and by his own initiative. He didn't need anybody to incite him to do it. Mm-mm. When God decided to make from the dust of the ground a man. He didn't need any help. He didn't have any help. He didn't want any help. Although some people seem to believe that God created a creator for himself. Some people do believe that. I am at Word of Faith Correctional Center. That sign has been there since it was made a sign. Now it's been taken down and it's been put back up and it has been seen somewhere else. I don't know of anybody else having that sign. I don't. Word of Faith Correctional Center. I didn't make the sign. I didn't come up with the sign. I did get a sign made. I did. And it's above the one that you see that says Word of Faith Correctional Center. Now I will move the screen so that you can see above the sign. If you cannot read it, it says, My Father's House. And you see TEACH 1 to B1. Teach 1 to B1. What I am now, I didn't get to be the way I am now without being taught. Teach 1 to be 1. What was I supposed to be? What are you supposed to be? What are we supposed to be? Do you know what we are supposed to be? We are what we are. And we are human beings. And we are, whether you like it or not, empowered by God. Every human being on the earth, powered by God. Jesus was born in Bethlehem. He spent a few months or years, maybe, in Egypt. Egypt is one country, and then there are other countries. And there may be countries or something in Egypt. But Jesus was in Egypt for a while, and then he came back with his parents, Joseph and Mary, to Nazareth, where he grew up. So he grew up in Nazareth. According to what you can understand, if you have, looked, Jesus was about 30 years of age when he was baptized by John, and heaven opened up and something came to Jesus from heaven. What was it? What came from heaven to Jesus? Do you know? What came from heaven to Jesus? It wasn't a dove. There were already doves all over the place. So somebody said, well, a dove can't. No. A dove didn't come from heaven to Jesus. But Jesus knows what came from heaven. It was the Spirit. It was God. God came from heaven. God's Spirit came from heaven. And Jesus immediately went into the wilderness where some things took place. You can read about those things that took place. Now, Jesus did not stay in the wilderness for a year. He was only out there a certain number of days. And he came from the wilderness is not a city, but he came into a city. According to what I read, the city was Capernaum. And from Capernaum, he returned back to Nazareth, where he went to the synagogue, where he had been many, many, many times before. And he knew who was there. The person that was there was no stranger to Jesus. Mm-mm. And Jesus asked for something to be brought to him, because certain people didn't touch certain things back then. Mm-mm. No. There was an ark. It's called the Ark of the Covenant. And that ark was on two bars, overlaid with gold. So this piece of material that's overlaid with gold, it's heavy. If you've ever, picked up a rock is heavy. Well, if you pick up gold is heavy. It is. And this ark was carried. And if somebody touched that ark that wasn't supposed to touch that ark, they died. They died. You want to find out what happened with the ark? You can. I'm not going to go into detail about it. But I do want people to understand that Jesus is not the way, the truth, and the life. I made it clear. I'm making it ultimately clear. Teach one to be one. That became a slogan of mine some years ago. Mm-hmm. It did. Someone had, another slogan: teach one to lead one. Mm-hmm. Teach one to lead one. Who has that slogan? I know who has I don't know how many others have that slogan, but I do know one person for sure: teach one to lead one. That individual's name, his last name is Allen, Allen, the best I understand. Mr. Allen may still have something to do with the organization that uses the slogan, teach one to lead one. Well, I'm in my Father's house, not here today, but my Father's house is not far up the highway. I can drive there in about 20 minutes. I can. All I got to do is get in my truck and I can drive to my Father's house. If you want to see my Father's house, you can see it. It's at 4774 Highway 151. That's where it is. I am at 611 South Farmerville Street right now. I'm sitting in this chair and I've been here making this video for 21 minutes and some seconds. I'm not going to be here many more minutes. I'm not. I'm going to leave here and I'm going home. Teach one to be one. You need to be taught so that you can be. And many people are taught, and they're taught to be, but they don't become what they should become. They don't. Now you can say, how can you say such things, Bob McGee? I just open my mouth and speak. Should that be a surprise to you? That's how I say such things? When I drove up here, I had no idea that I would be doing a live video. But a number of minutes ago, the process began. And the live video is being recorded now. What are you supposed to become? I know exactly what we are to become. The light. Sons of light. We're supposed to be children of light. That's what we're supposed to be. Sons of light. I've got a Bible. And I've got a mind. And I can sit here in this chair and do what I've done for the last 24 minutes. I guess I could do it as long as God wanted me to. Or as long as I want to. I'll do it. But my Father's house does not agree with those who teach one to lead one. That's why I have teach one to be one. Yeah. Mr. Allen knows who I am, and I know who Mr. Allen is. I've known him for a few years, the same number of years that he's known me. So if you see this video and you know Mr. Allen, I'm going to do what I can do to make sure that Mr. Allen sees this video that I'm making now. Yeah, it'll be, if this video gets on YouTube, I will make sure that certain said person gets to be aware of it if he's alive. How can you be sure you'll do that? If I'm alive, I'll do it if I said I will do it. Some people need to find out about God, about what he said and what he's promised, because he's not going to forget what he's promised. Mm-mm. He won't do it. He made a covenant with Noah after the flood, and the rainbow can still be seen in the clouds. I don't think the animals know what they see. I don't even know if an animal can see it, but I know that a man can, a woman can, and I'm sure that God can. And if God can, the angels can see the rainbow, the bow in the clouds that God put there as a reminder. So, if you want to know more about the truth than what's being told in most places, and I know that I can get some kickback, I expect kickback. Do you know what kickback means? It ain't money that I'm looking for. I'm not looking for a money kickback. No. Are you obedient or not? If you don't know what obedient means, you're probably not. And you may think you are obedient, and you probably are to something. But the question is it the truth? Why would I ask this question? Because many false teachers are on the earth today, and they have YouTube channels just like me. So if you have watched this unto the end, then you have heard whatever I said. So, Mr. Allen, I'm going to end this stream because it's going to be less than 30 minutes. Word of Faith Correctional Center. Do you need correction? If you are in deception, you need correction. Got it? I think you got it. I do.